It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
We have an active lifestyle, so being near the coast and next door to South Fremantle and Fremantle means that if you look around the suburb, there's people walking, riding their bikes, really connected to the beach and to nature. And that's what we love about it.
And that is Carlie Baker on the Real Estate Breakfast this morning as we connect you to what is going on in your local area right around Australia every morning. And if you've got a real estate story to share with us, let us know by either emailing us or you can leave this voice message. Very easy to do. The link is in the show notes. And just tap on that and start talking, and you can redo it as many times as you like before sending it off to us. More voices, the better, which is why we talk to hundreds of different people every year right around the country. More opinions and ideas. It all helps to flavour the melting pot of real estate. Oh, and our email address, as always, myrealestatepodcast@gmail.com. Well, it's a Tuesday. Nice to get Monday out of the way, November the 11th. I see it's Callister Flockhart's birthday today. She's turning 60 years young. Are you old enough to remember Ally McBeal? That was a great TV show from the 90s. And also on this day, it's pretty famous for the Chinese e-commerce company Alibaba, because on this day back in 2018, it sets a new record for their Singles Day sale. How about this for a number? $1 billion in 85 seconds. Or this one, 31 billion in 24 hours. Now you might be saying, what is Singles Day sale? Well, it began as a day for single university students to celebrate their singledom with treats and social gatherings. In 2009, Alibaba transformed it into a massive sales event. And on a global scale, Singles Day is now one of the biggest online shopping events in the world, far surpassing events like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So there you go, some information I didn't know about this morning. Now, PropTrack, they've got an interesting question for us, and that is Australia on track to mirror New York and London, where investors dominate and home ownership is out of reach? Investor lending in New South Wales is now growing 600% faster than owner-occupier loans. And new data shows that record levels of investment borrowing. Property prices are rising up to 12 times average incomes, which really is locking future generations into renting as investors increasingly control the housing market. And that is a question that we are going to be diving into a little bit later on this week. But right now, let's go to Perth and catch up with Carlie Baker from White House Property. And good morning to you, Carlie. Welcome to the Real Estate Breakfast. You are in, this is funny, you are in North Coogee. I didn't know that there was another Coogee because I was telling you I had a bit of a time of it where people were saying it's not Coogee, Craig, it's Coogee. Now you're telling me to go the other way.
Yes, over here in WA, we refer to it as Coogee. So yes, let's call it North Coogee, please.
Now, coming back to that topic of New South Wales is now growing 600% faster than owner-occupier loans because the investors are just having a time of it at the moment, buying up and buying big. Where you are in North Coogee, you don't have that problem.
No. In my local market here in North Coogee, the majority of buyers are buying as owner-occupiers.
Now, yesterday we were talking about a PropTrack report about 24 under-the-radar suburbs with surprisingly high property prices. unassuming yet affluent, these hidden blue chip enclaves prove that prestige and prosperity aren't always found in the city's most famous postcodes. So you want to tell us in particular about your postcode and how that is flourishing, because it's getting very, very close with that median house price of $2 million.
Really close to the magic median of 2 million, yes. And for me, being on the ground, being, a resident and real estate agent in North Coogee, I'm not surprised because of the beach-going lifestyle.
So tell us why North Coogee is around $600,000 above neighbouring Coogee. What's going on?
So beautiful North Coogee sits directly on the ocean. So it overlooks the Cockburn Sound here in WA. It's premium, and that's reflected in the new median price.
Now, we did this for Brisbane yesterday. Let's just have a look at some of these numbers from PropTrack, and North Coogee, we'll have a look at that first. As I mentioned, the median is 1.960. That is up 14% over the last 12 months. The average hold time, very, very short, only 3 years. Winthrop in WA, that's got a median house price of just over 1.6 million, 12% growth over the last 12 months. Average hold time, 12 years. And Guelph is now got a median house price of 1.5. That growth is 6% up. And look at that. People have been really holding on to their properties there 15 years. So what's going on with the very fast turnaround times? I probably would suggest that because the growth factor is there, people have just decided to cash out.
Absolutely. It was time for North Coogee to come into its own. It's a new suburb, so it was created in 2005. So it's in the scheme of things, this pop of growth in the last few years has definitely made local residents think, is it time to sell?
How busy has that made your 2025 because of that growth factor? You've obviously been selling as the year has been progressing.
Yeah, properties sell very quickly as they come to market. That's the first thing. REWA reports our current days on market's around 12, which is very short. We sell the stock quickly and we always have buyers waiting for the next one.
We are talking to Carlie Baker there in Perth, and she is from the White House Property Group. We'll come back in just a moment because there's a few more things to dive into, and that is just the livability and what is the population of North Coogee, and there's a little bit of infrastructure going on as well. So all of that coming up after this.
We dive deep into topics like buying, selling, investing, and maximising your property's value, from mortgage advice to the latest property data and trending numbers. Your real estate journey starts here.
And good morning, Kate. I want to talk about the missing piece in Australia's housing reform. Housing Minister Claire O'Neill is pushing to cut red tape for builders and developers, but the housing crisis debate has that blind spot, and you have talked about that, and that being strata.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, strata is a critical component of the solutions to Australia's housing crisis, with 50% of Australians expected to live in strata by 2050. It's poorly understood by the general population, and strata is frequently omitted from conversations about housing and development. Yet it's the strata sector that's left to manage the life cycle of anything but freestanding housing. So it's an important part of the conversation.
The other thing that is definitely worthwhile mentioning, and that is with housing prices climbing, what have we been seeing over the last 3, 4, 5 years? More Australians are buying apartments and townhouses because they are cheaper. So there's a lot more activity in that sector of the market, which is also probably leading to some nervousness.
Absolutely. It's seen as a cost-effective solution to housing, but as I mentioned already, it's poorly understood. The public need to understand that when they buy into strata, they have rights and obligations that go beyond freestanding housing. The strata sector rightly has come under criticism in recent years. However, what that function does is poorly understood. And so our Strata Futures initiative has been an engagement to explore how the sector can take ownership of its future, take accountability and invest in its own future. It's about people working together, and one effective way of doing that is pulling together a task force or some kind of initiative. And we've highlighted the CRC model as an effective way that has proven in other sectors to provide research, development, extension and innovation to uplift a sector. So we've proposed a task force to put together to explore the possibility of a cooperative research centre and undertake that bid process.
Listen to expert perspectives with exclusive real estate conversations and supercharge your knowledge base with us.
It is a Real Estate Tuesday and we are in Perth, North Coogee, not Coogee. Talking to Carlie Baker there. Let's talk about that livability. I know that you've touched on the livability aspect. Got a population of just 2,400. So talk about the small population, the lifestyle, and that livability factor which is drawing people in.
We have an active lifestyle, so being near the coast and next door to South Fremantle and Fremantle means that if you look around the suburb, there's people walking, riding their bikes, really connected to the beach and to nature. And that's what we love about it, the walkability and the connection that the beach brings everyone together.
So you're on the coast, you've got the port there. If we have a look at infrastructure, there's a little bit of activity in that department.
There is. So the Port Coogee Marina, which sits at the southern end of the suburb, is now being completed, I guess you could say. So there are cafes, shops, restaurants, bars, and the marina itself where people can have their watercrafts docked. There will be a boardwalk where people can spend time there out in the salty air, eating, drinking, and just being happy near the coast.
What is the drive time from North Coogee to the CBD of Perth?
I would say about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on traffic. If you would like to use the train, then you can travel from Fremantle to the CBD on the train.
And what's the distance from Fremantle to North Coogee?
10-minute drive or a bicycle ride is possible as well.
All right, we'll leave it there, Carlie. Great to catch up and find out a little bit about North Coogee there in Perth. Good luck with your run-up to the Christmas break and the other side, of course, into January. Hope you managed to get a nice little bit of downtime. And thank you for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
We are more than just a real estate podcast. We cover a multitude of subjects, including property data, current buyer-seller sentiment, and the mood of the market. Follow each week all of the main talking points and know your property.
Brisbane is becoming less affordable, but it's very important to get an understanding of what your money will buy in certain locations on a square metre basis to really unpack the value that Brisbane can still provide.
Melinda is with us in Brisbane talking about the impact of the rise on property, and we should talk about that relating to the First Home Guarantee Scheme because this has had a huge surge in Brisbane.
It certainly has. The impact that it has had on the demand side of the equation has been overwhelming. Unit values for basic 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom units have escalated between $100,000 and $150,000 over the last 2 to 3 months. And this is partly due to this surge in new buyer activity and also the perception that the first home buyer activity is going to have on demand in the market. So it's certainly been a huge stimulatory effect.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.